Welcome back to the 480 podcast. Today we're discussing, is Southern Alabama the best team in college football?
Oh, whoa.
Just kidding. We're talking about ASU and Texas Tech. Let's get right to it.
Spiky. Let's go Spiky.
Let's go. Okay, let's bring it to the matchup. It's ASU, Texas Tech. 3-0 against 2-1. A Big 12 matchup that has big implications for the rest of the season. How are you feeling about it, Trev?
Cam Scadaboo versus Taj Brooks. That's how I'm feeling about it. Who is the better running back? We will see on Saturday.
Oh, it's Cam without a doubt. Come on, man.
Well, he's got to provide the results.
Hey, that's true, but Taj Brooks hasn't been providing the results though either.
No, he's been balling.
He's 262.
The day he was out, they lost to Wazoo 37-16. They need his buy.
True, but I do want to talk about the fact
Hey, Wazoo won the Apple Cup. You're scared.
That's true.
You're salty.
Taj Brooks, his rushing yards so far in this season matches a game that Cam Scadaboo had. 262 rushing game against, who was it? Mississippi
SEC
State?
opponent.
Yeah, 262 against Mississippi. That's how many yards Taj Brooks has.
That's how
on
much
the
he has
season.
for the whole year. That's crazy.
We're good. Hey, Cam Scadaboo is also tied for 6th in the nation still.
True.
That's sick.
Heisman watch.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Let's take it back. Let's take it back in time.
Okay.
Let's look at the series between.
Who's your favorite player on the Chiefs? Pat Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. Look at that. September 10th, 2016, a 68-55 game.
Oh my
goodness. Let's look at the box score. Mahomes, 540, 5 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. But let's take it to ASU because that's where it gets interesting. Manny Wilkins, 351 and 2 touchdowns, but Kalen Ballage, 137 yards and 7 touchdowns.
And when was this? What year?
2016.
Oh man, I missed that XXL cipher.
What a game this was. And if we look at all-time matchups, 2017, last time they faced, ASU lost. 2016 obviously was a W. 2013 a loss. 1999 was a W. So right now,
Cool.
And then they played like 100 years ago. We don't count that. So right now I'm saying this series is even. Whoever wins this game takes the lead on this.
Cool.
I mean, there's a pattern. I feel like there's clearly a pattern. Win, loss. You know, it's ASU's time to shine.
And also, this marks history. This is going to be our first Big 12 opponent matchup in the conference. Man, this is one for the books.
Yeah, and it's really cool considering it's a team that we have a little bit of history with. You know?
For
A lot of these teams we haven't really played. You know, Mississippi State. How often? Had we ever played Mississippi State
yeah.
before?
No, that was the first time we ever played the
Yep.
Bulldogs. And then heading over to Wyoming, it was the first time we played them in 27 plus years?
Yeah, so
Interesting.
a lot of unfamiliar opponents, but Texas Tech is a little bit more familiar than what we're used to. So that's going to be exciting to watch. So press conferences happened this weekend. Trev, this is Kenny Dillingham's quote. The best opponents we have faced this year or in our future. How are you feeling about that?
Agree. I also think, just as a good players coach that Kenny Dillingham is, he's going to overvalue their next opponent because we have to go week by week. We cannot start to think ahead. We can't start thinking about Kansas, the bye week, so who's going to represent the Big 12. Right now, we're taking this week by week, and I do feel confident that everyone is bought into this game in Lubbock.
I'm liking it. All right, let's move on to the defensive. Or no, we're staying actually offensive here. Hines Ward, Steelers legend, Kai.
Whoa, my boy.
MVP 86.
So this
Yes,
is what he had to say about the wide receiver core kind of gelling and actually putting together a good game from top to bottom. Once we get a rapport with Sam and all of the wide receivers, we are trending in the right direction. Do you agree with that, Kai?
I mean, of course I agree with it. I remember watching that press conference. It was kind of just them asking Hines Ward about Jordan Tyson the whole time.
Yeah, dude, it's hilarious.
It was really funny to me, but I love that. I mean, Jordan Tyson, he is the guy to watch out for. Look at the stats against Texas State. 6 receptions, 120 yards, 1 touchdown. Almost had a fumble. We won't talk about that, though.
It wasn't almost. He was down.
He was down. He was down.
Wear maroon gloves next time.
But yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I mean, Jordan Tyson has been looking amazing. Mateer has looked amazing. Let's also look at Jake Smith too, who performed super well against
Good
Wyoming and Mississippi.
Yeah.
He did a great job, and he's going to be a guy that I think we're going to start depending on a little bit more. Same thing with Stovall, who's really starting to pick up pace a little bit faster here. There's so many things I like about this wide receiving core, and Hines Ward's done such a great job at developing these players. And, especially with Tyson performing super well, and honestly, one of the guys that gave us the win over Texas State.
Yeah, I want to see more from Xavier Guillory for sure.
I completely agree. And I'd love to see all these guys really step up and, put their best foot forward going into this Texas Tech game. Obviously, Texas Tech's a loud stadium. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be a lot more to handle. The
A
stadium
lot of
pulls.
tortillas.
A lot of tortillas. One of the best traditions, in my opinion, for college football. But
Hope this flour.
Yeah, that's true. This stadium, though, the stadium pulse is going to be high.
Cody Campbell Field.
True. And I'm super excited to see how a lot of these guys perform in these this really high leverage spot that they're going to need to play in here in Lubbock. So I'm excited to see. And Hines Ward, the quote speaks for itself. These wide receivers are going to ball out next week.
Yeah, so let's move on to that. Who is your offensive player of the game, Kai?
My offensive player of the game, heading back to my boy, Jordan Tyson. I think he's going to have another amazing game. Again, 120 yards last week. I think he's going to carry that momentum into this week as well. Obviously, I think Jake Smith and some of those other guys are going to step up, hopefully, again, like Melquan Stovall and Xavier Guillory. So there's going to be a lot to really look forward to in this wide receiving core. I think we need to stick to our roots and also use their pass game a lot more. I think Cam's going to get utilized too on those wheel routes, the quick 3-and-out type plays. I think he's going to be really good too in the RPO play action type style as well. So we'll obviously see how that goes, but I think Tyson, always be very wary of the splash plays. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what was really interesting with that Hines Ward presser is the reason why they were talking about Jordan Tyson so much is because he's probably most likely the Sunday player of that core.
Oh, of course.
And it was really cool just getting to know more of his background, being little bro to Jalen Tyson, recent first-round pick from the Cavaliers. So that's pretty much why that relationship was valued so much by the journalists asking him those questions. Because not often do you get a Hall of Fame wide receiver coach coaching up a potential Sunday player like that, especially at such a young age.
Totally. I also love the fact, though, too, where they started calling Hines Ward Unk.
Yeah, he's Unk.
Unk.
He refers them as his nephews.
He says he's at Unk status.
Yeah.
Everybody's been saying.
Yeah.
It just shows it's a great culture and that they love each other, man.
Yeah, family for sure. Family oriented.
Family. All right, Trav, let's move on to you. Who is your offensive player of the game?
This week I'm going with Josh Atkins. He struggled a little bit, just more on the discipline. Had a few penalties. I saw him getting scolded out by Coach Saga a few times on the ESPN coverage last week. But I think at this point, Texas Tech is going to bring a lot of unique pressures. He's going to have to handle a lot of these stunts, whether it's coming from the inside release of the D tackle, whether it's a nickel safety blitzing on the outside. Josh Atkins will be the independent variable to how successful this Cam Scatterboo run and counter game can be, especially seeing a lot more of Raleek Brown this week. I'm hoping that he can get a few more touches. But again, we have to establish our identity. If we aren't there, we need to reestablish it. I definitely want Josh Atkins to stay disciplined this week, and we're going to go as far as he takes us.
Yeah, and with that, Texas Tech, don't they run a 3-3-5?
Yeah, really unique stuff.
Really unique scheme. And with the 3-3-5, it's imperative that the line blocks because the splash plays from a Jordan Tyson are going to be open if Sam Levitt has enough time to throw.
Definitely. I can see a lot of mesh concepts this week.
Totally.
Like just drag, let's get some of these guys open on short passes, and then let's get to see some yak yards after contact.
Exactly. And my offensive player of the game, I have a little bit of a double feature, actually. This might be a little bit of a cop-out because I'm just rehashing some old friends, Raleek Brown.
Okay.
I said he was my offensive player of the game last week, and it didn't go as planned, but it was his first week back from injury. They got to ramp him up, and
their scheme was all about stopping the run.
Yeah, and it was tough. He had 1 yard on 2 carries and a catch for 2 yards. So I'm saying Raleek Brown gets a couple more touches. Give him maybe 10 rushes this game, and let's see what he can do with that. And Mateer. Mateer had a good game. He was our second best receiver last week, 5 for 57. I would love to see him produce a little bit more this week, and because he's going to be important. This passing offense has got to take off, like Hines Ward was talking about. It's got to take off, and he's a key to that.
The context with Cayman Mateer is we got to show Jalen Conyers that we replaced him. Because Jalen Conyers was our tight end 1 last year for ASU. He did some time with the Sun Devils. Now that he transferred to Tech, we gotta at least give him a sour taste And the
And
best way to do it,
show him what he's missing.
yeah,
man.
the best way to do it is to have a replacement outplay him, and that is Cayman Mateer. So I like that OPG.
I like that. All right, Kai, let's move on to your defensive player of the game. Who you got?
Got my boy Keyshawn Elliott. Keyshawn Elliott's absolutely balled out the last few games that he's been with us. Let's also not forget, too, his crazy game against Wyoming where he had a forced fumble. What was it? A total, I think it was 11 or 12
Last week he had
tackles.
14.
Yeah, had 14 last week as well. Like, he's been balling out, man. I mean, I absolutely love this guy.
He looks Sunday
He's-
player.
Yeah, he's been doing phenomenal. I love seeing him too rush on the outside edge. I think he's done such a great job at being able to shed his blockers. He's not a bull rush type of guy, which is something I actually really like. I like more guys that are elusive, can get out super quick. But my favorite thing about Keyshawn too is the way that he defends the flats, and that's something that I think is going to be really, really important to this Texas Tech game. They're a team that really likes to run stuff behind the line of scrimmage. They really do like to do those little quick RPO actions. They love to hit guys on the flat routes about 2 yards out, 1 yard out, have them run up the right side or left side of the line. I think that's a guy that Keyshawn Elliott can absolutely be put on during zone coverage with this squad. I think Brian Ward's going to be very wary of that. I think he's going to make sure that Keyshawn is used really well against Texas Tech. So I love him here as my player of the game. Him on the outside and as an edge rusher is going to be phenomenal, and I think he's going to be really locked down to Tech.
And playing downhill, a really key addition that we're getting back with this front seven is not only Prince Dorball, but Jordan Crook. So I
course.
can see Keyshawn Elliott and Jordan Crook running Mike and Will, and they're going to be in charge of those flats in zone coverage because that's what
Yeah.
we most struggled with last week with Jordan McLeod dicing us up with those 5-yard curls in those slots.
Of course, Keyshawn eventually did find it, though, against Texas State. He had
Yeah.
those 2 incompletions where he ran behind the line of scrimmage, stopping them on the flats. I love that a lot. He's a quick guy that can get in there really well and put a lot of pressure on your guys really early. And that's a guy that I really want to see ball out, and I think he's going to do a great job against Tech.
Cool.
And staying with the safety position, Trav, who's your defensive player of the game?
My boy, legit Shamari Simmons. I love Shamari because his play it projects so much confidence. Like these guys buy into Shamari's play, not his words, not him. His leadership is all from his execution. Right now, Shamari Simmons has been, him and Miles Ghost Rouser have been the most important players of this defense. Not only responsible for the turnovers, but the TFLs. Like I've absolutely loved Shamari's aggressiveness. Just if they're running a bubble screen in front of him, he's going to crack it. If he's going into the box, he's going to stop that run for a TFL. And just seeing that strip fumble start all the momentum we needed against his Molly last week, man, I love Shamari Simmons helping us out, especially with Cole Martin being out. I definitely see him playing a little bit more of the nickel, but awesome strong safety. I love this 3-safety set with Zay, Ghost, and Shamari. It's amazing DB core right now.
Yeah, it's been great. And let's move on to my defensive player of the game, Clayton Smith.
Ooh.
I just want to see him get some pressure. He has 3 sacks on the season. Okay, he's been productive. Probably
Now
our
he'll
best.
have Prince on the other side.
Yes,
Yes.
and
So he'll be rotating with Elijah O'Neal, who's exceeded expectations.
Dude,
Yeah.
that guy's been crazy.
yeah, it's been crazy. And I want to see Morton be uncomfortable. You know, Morton's been a very successful QB this season. 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Okay.
You can't really argue with his production. So it's going to be about limiting this Texas Tech offense.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
of
they
course.
won by 1 point to Abilene Christian, and,
Well-
they beat North Texas. Okay, I'd hope you have a good stat line.
Yeah, of course. And that's like the thing with Martin as well, though. ASU currently leads all FBS schools in defensive touchdowns scored.
Yep.
So for us going up
And
against
time of
Martin,
possession, we're top
we
5.
do. And that's something, too, that I think Morton's going to have a little bit of an issue dealing with. I'm excited to see how many turnovers ASU gets on this Texas Tech squad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to get one.
I mean,
Come on.
remember the number's 1.8 in Brian's Ward defensive
And he's gotten
career.
2. He got 3 the first game, 2 the last 2 games.
So he's up to
What is that,
7
Yeah.
so far on this year.
That's
he's
crazy.
living up. He's
That's
Why
living
we're not math
crazy.
majors.
We
We
are
are
not.
way too long.
So that, expect it. Expect some more turnovers. Morton has only turned the ball over twice this year, at least interceptions. We'll have to take a look at his fumbles, but he's kept the ball clean,
Yeah.
But let's see what we can do against him.
For me, I think I mentioned this in the Daily Pitchfork segment the other day. I think we're gravitating more from a strip sack this week than an interception.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that's
You
more
think
likely.
Morton's going to take care of the ball?
I just think he's gonna get strip sacked. Like
Yeah,
he's gonna lose the ball on a strip sack more than giving us the ball on an interception turnover. I think that's more likely.
I can agree with that.
Okay, and let's talk about offensive game plan for ASU. Kai, what are you thinking they do?
See, my biggest thing going back to the wide receiving core, Texas Tech is a team that really does not. They are very, I would say, spread out in terms of how ASU's play style would be in terms of running their wide receiving core. I think that they run a lot of spread defense. They're usually a lot more spread out, especially in that 3-3-5 formation. And I'm really excited to see though too how Cam's able to, attack especially behind the line with the offensive line that he's been given. The wide receiving core though too, I think being wary of the splash play is going to be Texas Tech's biggest, lookout in terms of defense. I think ASU's wide receiving core is going to have a great job against Texas Tech, somebody that's so spread out, especially on those quick routes, running them across over the middle, running over the top on people, especially running on the outside line that Jordan Tyson's been being able to facilitate since he's been here at ASU. And same thing with Mateer. He's been a great job. He's done a great job at beating his man over the top.
Yeah.
Same thing with playing underneath. I think ASU's wide receiving core, the pass game is going to be the biggest key to ASU winning this game against Texas Tech. But Cam, I also think though too can go crazy. Angry runs. You know what I mean?
Angry runs.
Angry runs. And I think Cam is going to look and have a phenomenal game. So I'm excited to see how they do. But definitely the pass game I think is going to be the key to ASU winning over Tech.
Yeah, and my thoughts kind of mirror that, and that's why I like Raleek Brown so much because he's just on screens. He's so quick for a running back. He's a running back punt returner. You don't see many of those. Let's hope he actually gets to return some punts this game. I don't know if he will.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I still like
more
Stovall.
than 3 yards.
I like Stovall still.
More than 3 yards.
More than 3 yards. But that's why I see him, maybe getting some production with trying to spread out the offense, especially with them being in the 3-3-5. Raleek Brown, I think, is going to get some opportunities to ball and hopefully get the ball in some open space and just show what he can do because we haven't been able to see it this year.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a combo between our first two games, the Wyoming game plan, Mississippi State game plan. Running the ball, establishing that identity, but a lot of HB screens. I can see that coming into play. Give Raleek Brown 2 HB screens. Even interchange him and Kyson Brown as the third down back. I love seeing these guys and not only their pass pro, but just how aggressive they are and their capabilities to run a hitch, to run an angle. I just hope we can expand our route tree for these running backs in the coming few games. But I feel like this is when the chain of events start.
I agree. And let's move on to defense. We have some very sad news to break. Cole Martin is down for the season.
Season-ending injury, yep.
Yeah, it's tough. He was a guy we were really excited about, but that safety, that DB core is going to be okay.
Yep, and we're replacing him with Kyan McDonald, and we didn't really mention the Brian Ward quote, but do you want to bring that up?
Yeah, I have it right here. You're not gonna. Sorry, a little bit of a typo. You're not gonna recruit a guy with a higher IQ than him. Trev, who's he speaking on here?
Speaking on Kyan McDonald, obviously number 38, we have limited reference to. He's gotten limited PT. He got 1 snap last game. But man, I'm so excited to see how he's going to plug and play into this DB core. Think about being a DB is you feed off the energy of the defense because the pass rush will make your job a lot easier if everyone has their assignments, everyone has good gap integrity. Pinning back their ears just helps the entire defense on a deeper level. So I think he's going to plug and play very well. I think we'll definitely run a lot more 3 safety sets, but we need Kai McDonald to plug and play in order for this defense to really just be itself.
Yeah, I think a 3 safety set is where they're at their best.
Yep.
I have a little bit of issues with our linebacking core. I think a little bit.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Jordan Crook. I hope he helps us out.
I know in that Texas State game, you just saw a couple issues there.
And then we have Tate Romney, who's going to probably come back after the bye week, and he's also another good pass coverage linebacker.
Yeah, they're just a little bit down.
So
right
it
now.
might just end up being Tate Romney and Jordan Crook as our dime linebackers, and then our first 2 down linebackers will be Zyrus and Keyshawn.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see it.
Mm-hmm.
No, of course, me too. I'm super excited. One guy I do hope gets more snaps is Blazin Lono Wong.
Yeah,
dude,
he comes in fresh though.
He
seriously, like he really capitalizes on his rotational position. It's really cool stuff because Jeff Clark is playing amazing stuff right now.
Yes.
Like he looks so aggressive, and then CJ Fight is obviously a really good D tackle. So it's like when you can interchange Blaze and Zach Swanson, these guys are really aggressive. And I love what I see just in terms of sight and sounds from practice. These guys really try hard.
Yeah, and I've loved that defensive line has actually lived up to expectations.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of ASU has,
And we haven't even had our star player in yet.
yeah, but a lot of ASU has lived up to expectations so far into this season, and it's been a lot of
I think we've
good,
been exceeding expectations.
exceeding
Yeah,
expectations in a lot
oh
of
my
cases,
God.
man.
I got so many hate comments for saying stuff like that on Instagram. It was bad.
Yeah, they were hating on our boy Trev over here.
Yeah,
for
they
saying-
said our floor is 5 wins, even after starting 3-0. They're like, you guys would be lucky if you guys get 5 wins on Barstool Big 12.
Yeah,
I'm like,
there's
bro,
no
what?
way.
You're Delulu. Delulu.
Delulu, especially because they're projected to win Kansas,
Kansas,
BYU.
Cincinnati.
Are they?
Yeah.
Was
remember-
it Cincinnati?
It was
Yes,
Cincy
Cincinnati.
and U of A is by
and U-
0.2%. We're
So
50,
that's
0.2.
4 wins right there that they're projected to get. Maybe they drop one, but then maybe they surprise UCF.
Let's be real here,
we think we're
guys.
storming the field for Kansas, though.
No,
Not at this point. Not with
Not at
how
this point.
Kansas has
Honestly,
played.
I don't think we have an opportunity to storm the field at all. Especially if Utah loses this weekend, they're not going. They might
Even
stay
if
in
we
the
win a bowl
rankings.
game,
Well, it won't be here.
that's true.
So it's like that's kind of the intention. You have to win a very good win,
That's true.
and
Yeah,
at
I
this
don't know
point,
if
we
there's
might
gonna
we
be
might be
one.
legit. Like we might just be the better opponent for the rest of our home games because again, we're hosting BYU, UCF.
I don't know.
Kansas
I
and
don't know
Utah.
if we could say we're better than Utah, like definitively. Like maybe,
We'll see this weekend.
but I don't think any of those will be noteworthy
I hope the
enough to
Cowboys
storm.
knock them off their momentum. That's all I'm hoping. Like I hope Utah becomes a pretender after this Saturday.
They will not.
That's your take, but I have not seen anything. I've seen all 3 of their games. They should have lost to Utah State last week. They looked terrible against Baylor when Cam Rising went down. I can't wait to see what we do.
All
Of
right.
course, you have a quarterback leading that team that's going to be, he's a generational QB.
Yeah, 25 years old. Tell him to go
25.
put in a LinkedIn resume while you're at it.
We
He's
all
got to
have
start
one.
cleaning windows somewhere or something.
Yeah,
like
we
that.
all have one, but we don't have 7 years of college
That's
on
true.
it.
Hey,
Come
he's a
on.
grad student.
Bro
Just
needs a
kidding.
haircut, man.
Just kidding. But let's get to our score predictions. Kai, we'll start with you.
30-24 is my final for the score predictions here. ASU winning out over Texas Tech. Personally, I think ASU, this is going to be a close one. I really do think that this is going to be a closer game. I think we're going to see a little bit, too, of Ian Hershey having a good game, too, in terms of the field goal range. I think that there probably will be maybe 1 or 2 where he's going to be tested with the 50-plus yarders. Not going to spend too much.
Give him those kicks.
Yeah,
I love
not
it.
going to spend too much time on a kicker, obviously. But I do think ASU is going to win this game against Texas Tech. I've been so confident saying that ever since the Texas State win that we were going to beat Texas Tech. In my opinion, it was either a win at Texas State meant a win over Texas Tech.
Yep.
A loss at Texas State would have been a loss at Texas Tech. I think ASU builds this momentum that we're on. We're riding high right now, and we're gonna keep the energy going. The juices are gonna be flowing.
We've activated the valley.
We activated the valley.
It's fully activated, man.
Of course, and it's just gonna be. We're gonna make sure that we keep the temperature on high. This is going to be a great game for us. I think ASU is really going to be able to showcase their wide receiving core a lot better.
Yep.
I'm so excited. Seriously, I'm so confident in this wide receiving core going into this Texas Tech game. And dude, with Sam Levitt, especially getting I think this is going to be one of his first chances where he's actually going to be able to ball out and put up some like crazy numbers as a QB. I'm super excited for that. So I really think that ASU is going to be coming out of here with a win. 30-24 is going to be my final. I do think Texas Tech's going to get on us a little bit later, I say around the 3rd quarter mark. But I do think ASU is going to be able to lock them down within the 1st quarter and the 4th quarter. 2nd quarter might be a little bit iffy, but I'm excited to see this ASU defense pop off.
Yeah, and Trev, your score prediction.
I have a similar model to your last segment of that where I think we're going to start off strong. I think we're going to start off and be at halftime. We're going to be up 21-7.
That's valid.
And then they're going to start to make adjustments. They'll stop our run a little bit, and they'll hit a field goal when they get the ball back in the second half, make it 21-10. We'll probably go 3 and out. They'll score another touchdown, make it 17-21. And then I think we'll drive a little bit, could see a missed field goal, and then they make it 24-21. They're up, but then we hit a good 4th quarter drive, and we win it 28-24.
I'm liking that.
That's how I feel.
And I think we all are predicting this to be a close one. Mine, 24-17. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a defensive matchup than maybe even we realize. I think that D line is going to eat. I think our safety core, our DBs are
They
going to
have to.
they're going to come and step
They
up.
got to step in that box and crack Taj Brooks.
They have to.
And then one of them's going to have to man on Jalen Conyers. That's why I picked Shamari, because I think he's probably going to be the guy who's going to man up on him.
Yeah, and then on the offensive side of the ball, Taj Brooks, Cam Scatterbu. I mean, this is a battle of two heavy rushing teams. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a big blitz, glamour, all that good stuff.
They have
I
some
don't
good O-line.
I don't think it's going to be a big offensive night is what I mean to say. So 24-17 is what I'm looking at. Some good plays by Sam Levitt, maybe one or two splash plays. A Jordan Tyson 40-yard touchdown is very
Came in up
welcomed.
the middle.
Came in Mateer, dude, a nice little seam route maybe.
Yeah,
We don't.
I like
We're gonna
those.
see. Yeah, we're gonna see what happens, but it's not gonna be big offensive game for either team. Lots of running, screens, spread out offense,
Yeah.
and it'll be a fun watch. I think so. So let's move on. Kai, what is your big question of the game?
My biggest question to you guys is, do we think Brian Ward's 2019 defense is back? That was something he talked about too in an early press conference this year, wanting to get back to that aggressive defense he once had, 40 tackles for losses, 30-plus sack season. Do you think that is something that's going to get accomplished? I feel like we're way on our way right now, at least, and we might even be better than that 2019 Brian Ward defense that he originally has talked about. But, what are your guys' thoughts on it? This is where I want to pick your guys' brains and figure out whether or not, you think ASU's defense is legit.
So that 2019 Cougars defense was actually really good. I'm trying to look at it right now, but I believe they were top 30 in the country for scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd go as far to say that his 2019 defense is back, especially because just different personnel, man. But I like the way it's being run. I like the turnovers are back. If that's what we're going to talk about, absolutely. We're turning the ball over at a higher rate than he was at Wazoo. But to say his 2019 defense is back, I don't know if I'd say that.
Yeah, for me, I'd hate to do it like this, but I'd probably have to hedge, say it's pending, because I still want to see how well Jordan Crook can do in pass coverage. Same with Tate Romney, and then Prince Doorball's immersion.
Yes.
I fully believe in him as a Sunday player because I watched him so much last year. But how he's going to become immersed into this front seven means everything right now. If he's rotating well with Elijah and Clayton Smith, I definitely love these pass rushers. I love our front seven. But if Prince becomes the X factor he was last year and is a great plug and play to this great defense, then yeah, I do see that as a very good ceiling for our team. But right now, it's still pending. We need to get healthier on all aspects right now. So I like these two additions who are going to play in Lubbock.
Of course, I completely agree with you guys. I mean, this ASU defense obviously still a little bit early on into the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I agree with the pending factor, but
we got to beat a Utah team, and then we kind of know.
That's fair. And this defense, though, has been balling out. I've been a huge fan, first again, in FBS defensive touchdowns. I love seeing this Brian Ward defense. I love the way he's been playing these guys more aggressively. So I can't wait to see how they go against Texas Tech.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about it to close this little section off is they haven't played Texas State is the best offense they've played thus far.
Yeah.
Wyoming, we thought Wyoming was going to be better.
Mississippi State just lost to Toledo, 41-17.
Mississippi State isn't quite what it cracked up to be. Not that it cracked up to be much originally, but they're just not.
They're still an SEC team.
They're still an SEC team. But the offenses they've played thus far into the season aren't world beaters. That's all I'll say. Texas State's a solid offense, don't get me wrong, but we're going to face better as the year goes on. Trev, what is your question you want to ask?
Guys, would you consider us a top 25 team if we beat Tech on Saturday?
Without a doubt. I think we finally hit the AP poll top 25.
Yep.
Somebody
we got 3 votes.
Of course, somebody that was just in there too, Boston College. They got knocked out after their loss to Michigan.
Mizzou.
Or Mizzou, sorry, you're right. And, ASU, we have the votes, and I think the Texas Tech game's what's pending right now.
Yeah.
It's win here, top 25 without a doubt. I think we hit the 25 spot. I don't think we go way higher than that.
We got to be 25. That's it.
We have to be 25.
Would be 4-0.
A 4-0 start, being undefeated, playing Texas State, Texas Tech, winning against, Mississippi, our first SEC win. There's so many factors that's going to be that comes into play during the AP poll top 25. So I'm really excited to see. But ASU, without a shadow of a doubt, should be ranked after this Texas Tech win if we get the win.
I don't know if it's without a shadow of a doubt. I think a lot of it is extenuating circumstances. Okay, so if we look, I'm looking at the top 25 right now. We have an A&M team that's solid, but they have a loss on their record. Illinois 3-0, Big Ten team's pretty good. Northern Illinois, I don't know.
From that Notre Dame game.
Yeah, no, it's from the Notre Dame game.
U of A dropped out.
U of A dropped out. Kansas dropped out. And so I think a lot
Kansas
of
is
it.
falling off.
Kansas
is falling off. Good news for
I
the
can't
Sun
wait
Devils.
to play them. Yeah, after a bye week.
Good news for the Sun Devils, but I think it depends on how everybody else plays throughout the weekend. They go handle their business in Texas Tech. They put themselves in position to be a top 25
If we win by
team,
2 scores.
then maybe. Once again, it just depends. Now we're running a little bit short on time. Let's just go to my question. Okay, does a win make ASU Big 12 contenders?
I love that. Because you guys know me, right? I said now. I said now after. You guys were like calling me crazy, but I was like now because we had established an identity that I was so shocked that we had. You know, I was really, really impressed to see Kenny Dillingham finally fulfill this running game and a running team that he had never coached before. He was always previously an air raid offense coach. So now he's more implementing his skill sets and taking advantage of his great coaching, and everyone's just they're bought into this vision that they just need to take advantage of having a top 3 running back room in the Big 12, take advantage of a very competitive Sam Levitt who is performing pretty well. Like, man, I that interception was a little overthrown over Mark Heston, but he threw it to his blocking tight end. Maybe Kamen comes up with that.
Yeah.
So,
Kai, what are you thinking? Just quick thoughts on that.
I mean, personally, I think that Texas Tech and, with us getting the win over them, if it happens, I do think that we are known in the Big 12. I wouldn't say we would be top of the – I wouldn't call us
top 4.
Top of the pack, but I would consider us contenders, if that's what you're saying. I do see we're on the outside looking in. I think one more conference win, the one against Kansas, is going to determine whether or not I'll see us as Big 12 real contenders.
Because then we're 5-0 consistent.
And then
We're 5-0, but
consistently.
then we have a brutal schedule. So I think 5-0 is a necessity to contend in the Big 12.
Yeah,
I agree.
But yeah, that's our show today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We had a blast, and it's gonna be a blast against Texas Tech. Make sure you guys all tune into that game.
12:30 FS1.
12:30. Got some Fox Sports coverage, and thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah, Forks up.
Forks up,
Activate the
baby.
Valley.
Activate the
We'll see
Valley.
you guys on October 5th.
Yes, sir.